Welcome back, everyone, to another explainer. If you're a focused learner trying to wrap your head around complex, systemic ideas, well, you are in the exact right place. So let's just dive right in. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating piece of source material called Nature and Gender Justice. We're going to explore this incredibly unique intersection, basically how the quiet, inherent balance of the natural world actually applies directly to human policy, specifically global equity and gender justice. It's kind of contemplative, right? But the way the author structures it is just beautiful. So let's get right to the core of her message. The author, Oluyemi Ola David, penned this profoundly simple yet powerful thought. Nature is just. Let us all eat a humble pie. Be still and learn from nature. Throughout this explainer, we're really going to look closely at how her thoughts right here serve as the absolute foundation for a much larger deep dive. She's suggesting something very specific to us. She's saying that before we can tackle these massive global inequalities, we need to just pause. We need to be still. She is basically asking us to look at the natural world, not just as an environment, but literally as a blueprint for justice. And what's really interesting is how she takes that abstract, poetic thought and firmly anchors it to a real, specific global event, the World Day of Social Justice. Notice the prominent visual she chose for this day, which is the classic scales of justice perfectly balanced. She's explicitly connecting this concept of natural equilibrium to our human social initiatives. So she isn't just writing poetry in a vacuum here. No, her work is a direct commentary on how we celebrate and, frankly, how we strive for social justice on an international scale. Which brilliantly illustrates her core philosophy, summarized in this absolutely powerful line from her February 19th post. Nature is a silent instructor. I mean, just think about that for a second. In the world of policy, global development, social justice, there is just so much noise, right? There are endless debates, arguments, these incredibly loud campaigns. But she is inviting us to consider that maybe, just maybe, the most profound instructions for how to balance our societies actually come from the silent, inherent balance of the natural world. If nature operates on this perfect system of justice and balance without saying a single word, what can our own social initiatives learn from just observing that silence?
To really grasp this perspective, we need to meet the mind behind all these insights, Oluyemi Ola David. Her professional brand encompasses a huge array of outputs. We're talking technical insights, policy briefs, opinion articles, polls, and of course, the kind of deep contemplations we're looking at today. She uses her platform to synthesize all these complex ideas, and honestly, understanding who she is gives us the exact context we need for why she approaches global justice through such a unique, reflective lens.
So let's unpack her background a bit. According to her own profile, she is a Nigerian who deeply loves people. And that human-centric focus, that's her starting point. From there, she scales way up. She's deeply concerned about global development and transformation. But here's the thing, she isn't just an observer. She actively enjoys generating solutions, providing clarity, and directly influencing policy and strategy. And underpinning literally all of this work is a profound driving faith. She notes that her Father God owns and rules the universe, and she describes him as the wheel within my wheels. So when she talks about the justice of nature, she's viewing it through this lens of profound faith. She sees a grand, purposeful design that she aims to translate into real, practical global development solutions. Which brings us to a really fascinating comparison. On one side, we have nature's justice, this concept of the silent instructor, that inherent balance of the universe she believes in so deeply. And then on the other side, we have gender justice, which she specifically highlights in her work using the tag #SDG5. Now, for those who might not know, SDG5 refers to the UN's Sustainable Development Goal 5, and that aims to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. So the absolute crucial point here is how she bridges the two. She's taking a highly structured international policy framework like the SDGs, and she's infusing it with the contemplative, foundational wisdom of nature's inherent balance. It's a really incredible approach. And this isn't just some philosophical exercise for her. It's a completely practical framework. She weaves nature justice directly into things like financial inclusion, and she looks at inequality through a gender lens. By combining all these concepts in her work, she's effectively telling us that you just cannot achieve true financial or gender inclusion without first understanding the fundamental, equitable laws that govern the natural world. She's taking that silent instruction from nature, where, every single element has a role and a perfect balance, and applying it as a generating solution for some extremely complex human inequalities. And that actually brings us right back to her core call to action. Let us all eat a humble pie. When you put that in the context of everything we've just unpacked, her background in policy, her intense focus on the Sustainable Development Goals, her drive for global transformation, this is a striking piece of advice. She's basically explaining that to actually achieve the global development she advocates for, humanity just cannot operate from a place of arrogance. We have to first adopt a posture of absolute humility. We've got to admit that we don't have all the answers and that we must be willing to learn from the inclusivity and the justice that's already present in nature. Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought to take away from our explainer today. Based on the insights of Oluyomi Ola-David, how will you be still and let nature instruct your approach to equality today? I mean, whether you're looking at systemic policy, workplace dynamics, or honestly just your own day-to-day interactions, how can that concept of a silent instructor and a humble pie shift your perspective on fairness and justice? It is a brilliant framework for all of us to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating source material. Stay curious, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next explainer.